Hi, this is Jeremy, and this week I'm covering keyframes or keyframe animation. Um, CSS allows animation of HTML elements without using JavaScript or Flash, but you can use JavaScript if you want to. It just adds more steps. But basically, I'm going to go through the following properties here of keyframes and then show examples. I'm going to show a lot of examples and then go from there, and hopefully it's not too confusing, and then you can ask me questions during the week and hopefully I can answer those for you. So basically with keyframes and CSS, it requires the @keyframes property, so I'll go through some examples here. So with the @keyframes rule, we'll have an example here. So here, we'll just run it really quick here. So we'll have a simple div, and here are the properties. So when you run it, it's just going to have a width, a height, normal stuff we've been going through. If you want, you can change the border, radius, and make it more of a circle if you want. It's kind of the usual stuff we've been doing. You have to put an animation name, so the @keyframes knows what it's working with. So the animation name is going to be example here. @keyframes example. It's going to go from background color red to yellow, and then let's try changing it to green. So it'll go to green, and then when the animation's done, it'll go back to its original color here. Let's see what else. So animation duration, it's going to go for 4 seconds. You can change it to however long you want it to, and then it'll just be a little bit slower transition based on however long you want it to be there. So it's kind of a little straightforward here. It's just the basic properties we've mostly been working with, other than animation name and animation duration, and then @keyframes, and then you'll want to put in the animation name right here with @keyframes. Okay, so we covered animation name, duration, animation delay. So with animation delay, so that is basically how long you want to wait before the animation happens. So right now it's set for 4 seconds, so when the page loads it's going to wait 4 seconds before the animation starts. Also it has here, it's added a position, so position relative or absolute, we've also been working with that. So relative is going to be below this paragraph, so if we change it to absolute, it's going to be on top of the paragraph, so we'll just want to have that as relative. And it's also got percentages here, so percentage 0, it's going to be 0% is when it starts. And it's going to start at the top here, top left, 0 pixels. And then at 25% it's going to change to yellow, 25% of the animation. 50% through the animation it'll be at a blue color. 200 pixels from the left, 200 pixels from the top, and 75% through the animation it's going to change to green. Still gonna, and then it's going to go to green, or blue, and then green, and then back to its red at 100%. And then the animation delay, the animation delay is 2 seconds, and then it's going to go for 4 seconds. And then if you change this to 9, then it's just going to be, it's going to go slower because it's got more time to run through its animation. And then you can change the size of it too. And like before, change to the shape of it too. So you kind of mess around with that. I was going to show this later, but you could also, if you want, you could put some text in the middle of it. I changed the edges of it, so obviously it's going to do that, but you can also center the text. You could put different things around in the box, just like anything else like that we've been doing throughout the class. And then animation direction, you can change the direction that it goes. Normal, it's going to go clockwise, which is the default. Reverse, it's going to go counterclockwise. alternate, it's going to go clockwise, and then it will go counterclockwise, and you can run through how many times you want it to go clockwise and counterclockwise, depending on how many times you want it to run through its animation. And then iteration count, that's how many times you want it to run through its animation. It doesn't have to do it just one time. You can do it multiple times. You can also do it infinitely. Like I said, you can do the direction, timing function. Let's see. Animation timing function. This is kind of a different one. So it'll go in different speeds. So linear is going to be slow start. It's going to go faster in the middle, and then it's going to end slowly. Linear, it's going to be the same speed throughout the entire animation. Easing in, it's going to start slowly, and then it's going to speed up. Easing out is the opposite. It's going to start out normal speed and then slow down. Easing in and out, it's going to have a slow start and end. So examples of that are right here. And it's got the shortcut. So animation is a shortcut. So if you want, you can put all the properties within the animation. So it called the animation name my move. So right here it's got at keyframes my move. It started from the left at 0 pixels, going to 300 pixels at the very end here, which you could change if you want. So let's go to 500 pixels. So you can go all the way at the end if you want, or you could also say start at 50 pixels from the left. You can run it for 10 seconds, so they'll run slower because they have a longer distance to travel because it's 10 seconds, so it's twice as long. You can change the font within there, obviously, because we've done that throughout the semester. Change the background color of the boxes, change the size of the boxes, the border, the edges like we've shown before. We've got the divs down here to match the names of the divs within the CSS. Fill mode is a little more, I think, difficult to understand. So fill mode is, for me anyway. So fill mode specifies a style for the target element with the animation while the animation is not playing. So before it starts, after it ends, or both. So if you have animation fill mode set to none, it's the default. If you have it forwards, the element will retain the style values that is set by the last keyframe. Backwards, the element will get the style values that is set by the first keyframe. And both, the animation will follow the rules for both forwards and backwards, extending the animation properties in both directions. So animation fill mode forwards. So background color. So it starts out red and ends in blue. So if we have backwards, it starts out red, goes to the end, goes back up to the end, to the beginning again, because it's going backwards. So if we have forwards again, as an example, it goes. Oh, I guess it went back again. So that was a little more confusing to me. So maybe somebody else can get a better grasp on that. Just for fun, let's try none. Yeah, I don't know. That one's a little more tricky for me, honestly. And then, as I mentioned earlier, animation shorthand. So right here, they just used the word animation here. the name of the animation. They put in example. It'll run for 5 seconds. They have it set to linear, 2 seconds, run infinitely, actually delay 5 seconds, linear, 2 seconds, infinite, and then it's going to alternate in the direction. Duration 5 seconds, 2-second delay, infinite count, alternate direction. So this is essentially the same as this, but it's in shorthand here. Just in shorthand. So 5-second delay, linear, infinite, and then it's going to go clockwise and then counterclockwise. Infinitely. And then it's got the percentages here. So those are some examples of the main CSS Keyframe Animation properties. Let's see. So I covered the animation properties. And then, so you can apply the animation to specific HTML tags. So in this example, you have a paragraph here that the animation was applied to. So they did sort of a marquee type of thing here to the paragraph. So they have the paragraph coming in from the right. And they used, so to get the paragraph to have this effect, they used overflow hidden, like we've done before, to keep it from going off of the page. They did a 3-second duration. They called the animation slide in. So they have at keyframe slide in from margin left, 100%, the very far right of the margin, to 0% margin left, the very far left of the margin. So it's going to cover the entire length of the margin. And so in this example, they added 75% to the middle of it, font size 300%. So right in the middle, they're going to increase, or 75% of the animation. They increase the font size to 300%, and then they start decreasing the font size back down to 100%. So it's going to increase the paragraph font and then decrease it back down again. So you can play around with the size of the paragraph too. So you can do this with any paragraph, H1, H2, H3, that kind of stuff within HTML by playing with the normal properties that we've been dealing with throughout this whole semester. Using at keyframe, animation name, from, to, you can use the percentages. And they did the same thing here. They did infinite. You can also do animation iteration count, like mentioned before, infinite, so they have it going infinitely. They have all animation direction alternate added to it, so infinite, and it's going back and forth, like we showed before with the box. And then lastly, I'm going a little bit over here. Just wanted to show something fun here. We haven't been working with buttons, but if you want to play around with JavaScript and buttons and keyframe animations later on, you can also use JavaScript to create play buttons and pause buttons. You can add zoom in and out buttons to pictures. Like say this is a picture here and you have to zoom in. You want to zoom in on a particular, some pixels on a picture, or zoom out on a picture. You could also do that. CodePen has some examples, and I think W3 Schools and possibly MDN has some examples that you can look at as well. Thank you for watching, and if you do have any questions, please let me know and I will post this to the discussion board. Thank you.